Two people sign a piece of paper in the same week, same building, same floor. One signs a mortgage, one is a renter. That one is you. 30 years later, she owns a door. You have paid $1,121,828 in rent, and you own nothing behind it. You think this is a story about who was smarter with money? It is not. Run the numbers honestly, and the renter can win. That part is real. We are going to do that math out loud, all of it. So if the money can go your way, what did you actually lose? You find out in year 22, on a Tuesday, in an envelope taped to your door. Level 1, the first apartment. You're 28. The building is fine. Not nice. Fine. They hand you 2 keys on a ring. One opens the door, one opens the mailbox. The rent is $1,965 a month. That is the typical asking rent in America right now. You do not pay that on day 1. You pay more. First month up front, a security deposit. The average renter who paid one paid about $750. Then an application fee. Around $50 is normal. Nearly 4 out of 5 renters pay one. You pay the fee before anyone tells you whether you can have the apartment. They run your credit. Most landlords want to see 620 to 650. They check that your income covers the rent several times over. Understand what just happened. You were underwritten. A stranger priced your reliability, and you paid for the privilege of being priced. You pass. You get the keys. It feels like a win, and it is one. Her name is Claire. 2 doors down, same floor. She is 28 as well. She is not signing a lease. She is buying. That makes her unusual. The typical first-time buyer in America is now 40 years old. First-time buyers were 21% of the market last year, the lowest share ever recorded in that survey. So Claire is early. Both of you know it. Neither of you says it. You ask her once how she got the cash together. She tells you most of it, and it takes a while. Savings, a retirement account she cracked open, and help from her parents. That last part is not rare. Around 1 in 5 first-time buyers gets a gift or a loan from family. You do not have that line item. Nobody does anything wrong here. It is just that the door has a price, and the price is due before you are ready. Here is what your $1,965 buys that nobody advertises. The roof is not your problem. The water heater is not your problem. The property tax bill goes to somebody else's mailbox. When the furnace dies in February, you send a text and go back to bed. That is not nothing. That is worth real money, and we will price it later. You are 28. You have a door that closes, and your name is on the mailbox. 11 months later, a different envelope shows up. Level 2. The renewal. The letter is 1 page, polite, printed. Your rent is going up. The number is not insulting. It rarely is. A typical renewal increase lands somewhere between 3 and 5%. That is the trick. It is always small enough to sign. You do the arithmetic on the year, and it costs you about $700. You sign. Of course you sign. Look at the alternative. Moving costs a deposit, a fee, a truck, and 2 days off work. The increase is always priced just under the cost of leaving. That is not cruelty. That is competence. Somebody in an office has modeled exactly how much you will absorb before you go. Claire gets a letter that spring too. Hers is a property tax bill. It also goes up. She also cannot argue with it. That part is the same. What is different is that nothing in her letter has an end date. Now do it 30 times. Start at $1,965. Add 3% a year, every year. By year 10, you are paying $2,564 a month. By year 20, $3,446. In year 30, the same apartment costs $4,631 a month. Nothing about the apartment changed. The kitchen is the kitchen. Is 3% fair to assume? Look backwards. The government has tracked the price of rent for decades. From June 1996 to June 2026, that rent index rose 176%. Everything else in the basket rose 113% over the same 30 years. Rent did not just rise. It outran the rest of your life by a wide margin. That works out to about 3.4% a year compounded for 3 decades. So 3% is not pessimistic. It is slightly generous to your side. Right now, the market is actually soft. Almost 40% of listings are offering a concession, a free month, waived fees, something to get you to sign. Asking rent still rose 2.2% over the last year. Soft markets are weather. The 30-year direction is climate. You read the letter again, you look at Claire's door, and for the first time, you seriously ask what buying would cost. Level 3, the down payment. You do the research the way everyone does, badly, at midnight, on your phone. The median existing home in America sold for $440,600 in June. A 30-year mortgage costs about 6.5%. Put 10% down and you need $44,060 in cash. 10% is not a lowball. It is exactly what the median first-time buyer put down last year. You do not have $44,060. That is the honest reason you keep renting. But run it anyway, because the number surprises people. The loan is $396,540. Principal and interest come to $2,506 a month. That is not the payment. That is the beginning of the payment. Property tax. The average effective rate in America is 0.9%. On this house, that is about $330 a month. Insurance, call it $208 a month, and it has been climbing fast. Maintenance. The rule of thumb is 1% of the house every year. That is another $367 a month you will not spend evenly. You will spend it in one weekend, in October, on a roof. Put less than 20% down, and you pay mortgage insurance too, roughly $165 a month. Add it up. Claire pays about $3,578 a month. You pay $1,965. Read those two numbers again, because this is where most videos lie to you. Claire is not winning. Claire is paying $1,613 more than you every single month. She also paid closing costs to get there, around 3% of the price, about $13,200, gone. She is down roughly $57,000 in cash before she sleeps there once. Renting is cheaper month to month in nearly every large city in America. That is not a slogan, that is the arithmetic. You are not the fool in this story, you never were. But her payment is mostly fixed for 30 years. Yours is not fixed for 12 months. That is the entire difference, and it takes 2 decades to show up. Watch how slowly. In year 10, she is paying about $3,688 a month. You are paying $2,564. Year 20, she is at $4,095. You are at $3,446. Year 25, she is at $4,348. You are at $3,994. You are still paying less. Her mortgage never moves, but her taxes, her insurance, and her repairs all climb with the house. The two lines do not cross until the last year of her mortgage. Think about what that means. For almost the entire mortgage, renting is the cheaper month. Anyone who tells you buying saves you money right away is selling something. It does not save you money. It converts money into a thing you can lock, and it only works if you stay put. Buying costs about 3% to get in. It costs more to get out. Agent fees and closing on a sale run several percent again. Move after 4 years, and those costs eat the equity you built, every time. So if your job might move you, renting is not the weak choice. It is the correct one. Claire is not brave here. She is stationary, and she got lucky about that. You decide to wait 1 more year and save harder. You are still saying that sentence 18 years later. By then, the envelope has already been printed. Level 4. The letter. It is year 22. You are 50 years old. You never left. 264 rent payments in the same building.
not one of them late. You know which stair creaks. You know the mail carrier by name. Staying that long is not unusual. About 1 in 6 American renters has been in the same home for 10 years or more. That number is going up, not down. People stay, they just never arrive. Then, on a Tuesday, there is an envelope taped to your door. It says your lease will not be renewed. It gives no reason. It does not have to. This is the rule under everything else. 7 states require a landlord to have a reason to end a tenancy. New Jersey since 1974, New Hampshire since 2015, California and Oregon since 2019, Washington since 2021, Colorado and New York since 2024. You do not live in one of them. Most renters do not. So here it is, plainly. The lease ends. It always ends. Somebody else decides what happens on that date. You are not in the room. Being a good tenant does not buy you a vote. It only buys you the polite version. The other version is a court filing. Landlords filed more than 1.23 million eviction cases in 2025 in areas that hold about a third of America's renters. That is roughly 1 filing for every 13 renter households. You are not one of them. You just have 60 days. You find a new place. It costs $340 more.
New deposit, new application fee, new credit check. You are underwritten again, at 50, with 22 years of perfect payments that count for nothing here. The movers cost $1,400. You do not remember agreeing to any of this. Nothing you built in 22 years transfers. Not the payment record, not the goodwill, not the stare. That is the thing about a tenancy. It does not accumulate. You did not lose a fight. There was no fight. There was a date. Claire has a bad year too, that same spring. A pipe goes behind a wall. It costs her $6,000 and 3 weeks of noise. She is furious for a month. Then it is over, and she is still standing in her kitchen. Nobody can send her a letter about it. At the new building, nobody hands you keys. There is a code and a portal. Level 5. The new owner. The portal wants your bank account. There is a fee if you pay by card. Maintenance is a ticket now, with a number and a status. You never meet the owner. There is no owner to meet, not in the way you mean it. Your building was sold. The buyer is a fund. This is not a rumor. These are filed, published numbers. Greystar owned 119,160 apartments as of January 2026. It manages 1,014,091 more. Sit with that second number. Over 1 million homes under one set of policies. Owning and managing are different jobs, and the second one is the one you feel. The manager writes the late fee. The manager writes the renewal offer. The 50 largest apartment owners in the country hold about 11% of all apartments. Blackstone holds over 230,000 residential units, the largest private equity apartment owner in the country. Private equity firms together own almost 3 million apartment units, about 13% of every apartment in America. Single-family houses, too. Invitation Homes wholly owned 85,970 rental homes as of March 31st, 2026. Now the honest part, because this is where people exaggerate. Nationally, institutions are still a minority owner. A federal report published in March looked at 6 metro areas. Institutional investors held from 4% of single-family rentals in Seattle up to 22% in Jacksonville, but less than 3% of all single-family homes in those metros. So no, a fund does not own the country. Your landlord is probably still a person. The point is narrower and worse. In the places where they concentrate, they set the number. And a fund does not have a bad knee or a favorite tenant. A fund has a target return, written down, promised to somebody else. Your rent is not a conversation. It is an input. You are 52 now. You have moved exactly once in 24 years. You did not choose the year. You did not choose the building. You did not choose the price. Claire is 4 miles away, in the same kitchen. She has 6 years left on a payment that has not moved since she was 28. You have made a place a home twice. You have never made one yours. One night you finally add it all up. Level 6. The sum. You are 58. You have rented for 30 years. Start at $1,965. Add 3% every year. Total rent paid, $1,121,828. Your last month costs $4,631 for an apartment you cannot describe as yours. Say your rent had never gone up, not once in 30 years. That is still $707,400. There is no version of this where the number is small. Now, Claire, be fair to her and be honest about her. Her interest alone was $505,765. She paid the bank more than half a house for the privilege of the house. Principal and interest together, $902,305. Add taxes, insurance, maintenance, closing, down payment. She spent roughly $1,490,000 over 30 years, about $370,000 more than you. She owns a house. At 3% appreciation, it is worth about $1,069,000. She owes nobody, and her costs just collapsed. No mortgage, taxes, insurance, and repairs only. Call it $2,135 a month for the rest of her life. You are paying $4,631, and it is still going up. That is the year the whole thing finally tips, and it takes 30 years to get there. Now the part that will annoy everyone. You paid $1,613 a month less than her at the start. She was ahead in cash for almost the entire 30 years. Take that gap and her $57,000 of upfront cash, invested at 7% a year. You would have about $1,855,000. The renter wins. On paper, under those assumptions, by a lot. That is the honest answer, and almost nobody gets it. Because it requires you to invest the difference every month for 30 years without touching it. And here is why almost nobody does. 22.7 million American renter households spent more than 30% of their income on rent in 2024, a record. 12.1 million spent more than half. There is no gap to invest. The gap is groceries. The typical American homeowner had a net worth of $396,200 at the last federal count. The typical renter had $10,400. Not because owners are smarter, because a mortgage saves for you whether you feel like it or not. The zoom out. Stand back and look at what this actually is. Ownership is not a better investment. It is a worse investment with a lock on it. You are handed the better math and no mechanism. She is handed worse math and a machine that runs itself. Above both of you sits a third party who needs neither. Graystar, Blackstone, a pension fund in a state you have never visited. They do not need the rent to be fair. They need it to hit a number. And that number was set before you saw the listing. So here is the answer to the question from the first minute. You did not lose the money. The money could have gone your way, and it never depended on you being reliable. What you never had was the decision. Not the price, not the increase, not the ending, not one date in 30 years. Claire made one decision at 28 and lived inside it. You made 30 years of good ones and lived inside somebody else's. Somewhere this morning, a 28-year-old is being handed 2 keys on a ring. One for the door, one for the mailbox. The deposit is $750, the fee was $50, and the credit check already passed. She will be a very good tenant. It will not matter on the day it matters. You can pay for a door for 30 years. You cannot buy the hinge. Watch this next if you want to see what happens to the one person who gets handed all of that money at once and finds out it still does not buy the decision.